Good morning and welcome to Little by Little, a short time in God's Word. Today, January 17th, Genesis 42, 43, Psalm 5, and Luke 17. We're going to spend our time in Luke 17. And what I'm finding, and maybe this is happening in your reading as well, is as I read through and the Lord stops me, and I spend some time writing some things down, and I'll go back and read the rest, but I feel like, man, I've got that thing which God gave me, and it's so good. And then there's other days you're reading through, and you're like, okay. There's not that one big thing. That's when you just kind of go, okay, Lord, what's the big theme here? What are you warning about? What are you challenging about? Maybe it's not affecting you personally at that moment, but always still ask those questions. Always still go, okay, God, I want to hear from you, and I'm going to wait a few more minutes. I'm going to take a few more minutes, and He'll be faithful to speak. So, Luke chapter 17, temptations to sin are sure to come, but woe to the one through whom they come. It'd be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and were cast into the sea than he should cause one of these little ones to sin. Pay attention to yourselves. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. And if he sins against you 7 times in that day, and he turns to you 7 times saying, I repent, you must forgive him. No one wants to hear that. Why? Because we live in a world where if you get hurt, throw them out. If you get hurt, protect yourself. They don't deserve it. They're not worthy of you. And yet, we're all fallen. We're all sinful. And love doesn't remember wrongs. It forgives. And so Jesus, in talking about temptations to sin and causing others to sin, brings up the whole idea of forgiveness. And so it's interesting how those things are closely related. Well, in that, the apostles say, increase our faith. And the Lord said, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it would obey you. I think maybe that's a prayer we need more regularly and for our lives. Lord, increase our faith. Because we come to God with faith, because of the faith that He gives us, and we exercise it, and we accept the free gift of His Son, Jesus Christ. But then time goes on, and sometimes life, sometimes situations, sometimes our lack of discipline, our lack of engagement with the Word or with other believers, and or we stop seeing God at work. And we think He's not at work because we're not seeing it. And there's a great song, and it has a line that, He's still working even when I don't see it. Like, oh yeah. And so faith can have these ups and downs, and I think sometimes they're kind of fulfilling prophecies, if you will, because, if God's not answering our prayer, our faith goes down. If God's not changing our heart or taking away our problems or fixing our wife or our husband or our son or our daughter or our boss, and our faith starts to erode because we're looking for results, and we live in a results-oriented world. But as the next little parable, next little story, is going to talk about being servants. The end of it, verse 10 says, we are unworthy servants. We've only done what was our duty. I think we have to get back to that we're just servants of the Lord. And so when we ask for more faith, it's a protection so that we can serve others well, that we can serve the Lord well, without expectation of reward, without expectation of everything working out and tied up neatly. Lord, increase my faith so that I just keep trusting you. Sometimes we think that it's for the action, that the mulberry tree would be uprooted and planted in the sea and it would obey you. And the idea isn't so that you go around causing trees to be uprooted and thrown into the sea. Obviously, that's a picture. And Jesus is not calling us to do that. but it's to trust and obey. And so, yeah, ask for more faith. Lord, my faith is small right now. I'm having a hard time. Increase my faith. And big help in that, of course, is continuing the Word, continuing with fellowship and prayer and studying and reaching out to others and getting outside of ourselves, serving outside our own sphere and our own comfort zone. Lord, increase our faith. Till next time, keep growing little by little.